This is Phil Dixon, and coming to you live tonight with another edition of This Day in Black Baseball History. This is the April 13th, 2026 edition. So, guys, I hope that everybody is having a good time joining me. So, I don't want to wait too long. I tell you what, we had kind of tornado weather here in the Midwest, and so that kind of slowed me getting on the air. So, this is the reason why I'm coming on so late. And of course, that doesn't help my people who follow me from the east because right now it is 9:53, about 8:53 here in the Midwest. And of course, if you're in California on the West Coast, you're in good shape, right? So you can hear us real well. So hopefully we'll get some people joining in. And yeah, I was on earlier today and gave a couple of Negro League Facts, and that went very well. And I call that my mid-afternoon madness. So every time I come on, I have some different names. So if I come on early in the morning, that's my Wake Up America. If I come on midday, that's Midday Madness. And then of course, I need to do something for the weekend edition, so I can name them all and have a good time. But I did start something else last night, which is Sunday because sometimes I have so many facts that I just can't squeeze in that I decided to come back and do a mop up. And the mop up is going to be on Sunday night. So I'll do this day in Black Baseball history. And then I will show some of the things that I had to mop up with and things that I didn't get a chance to talk about during the week that I think you would find interesting. Okay. So once again, my name is Phil Dixon, and I'm the author of several books here. There's one of my books here, Ruth Foster, A Harvest on Freedom's Fields. That's an interesting book here. And also I have Wilbur Bullet Rogan and the Kansas City Monarchs. That's another one. And this is my latest book. Now, keep in mind, my books go back to 1992. Actually, no, I don't have it. I thought I did. Well, I don't have it here. My latest one is the 1910 Chicago Leland Giants. Is not here in front of me, but that's okay. So hopefully you guys can join me, and I'm about 2 minutes in this broadcast, so I'm kind of talking too much, and I want to get down to business. So let me go to my spreadsheet here and see what I want to talk about first. How about this one? April 13th, 1916. We're going to go back to 1916. And although Pete Hill, playing third base, played without an error in the game and went 2 for 4 at bat and stole two bases for the Chicago American Giants. Of course, you know Pete Hill's in the Hall of Fame with Cooperstown, New York, right? So he's a baseball legend. Well, in spite of that performance, the American Giants lost the game by the score of 4-3 to Vancouver. The Vancouver Beavers, and they were playing in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. Canada. God, well, I don't know. I can't talk right now. So anyway, a couple other guys contributed well in there, and John Henry Lloyd went 2 for 3 and scored a run for the Giants. And a pitcher by the name of Dixon, first name unknown, was the losing pitcher. And two players that didn't hit that well in that game were Bruce Petway, who went 0 for 3, and Harry Bachman, who went 0 for 4. And they were the only Giants who went without a hit that night or that day since they were playing daytime baseball. And let's see. And then I did talk about this last night, and I think I mentioned this one yesterday. I'm on Hill with his signature on it that went up in auction just the other day, and I heard it went over 100,000 for that particular contract, but today someone gave me a total of 104,000 that it sold, and just had Pete Hill's signature on it, and George Spedding, the owner of the Baltimore Black Sox. It was 1924 single page contract, so that's pretty good. So somebody says, I guess this says Esteban. It says, hello, where are you joining from, Esteban? I'm just kind of curious where people are picking me up, if they're East Coast, West Coast, um, Midwest, or out of the country. I'm just kind of curious, right, where people are joining me from because I'm a little bit late tonight. Somebody else says, this one's somebody last name looks like, I can't read the name, at Leybisro, maybe it's Rodriguez. Yeah, where are you guys joining from? That's really interesting to me. So I'm trying to figure out where people are following me from when you come on this late at night. All right. So just kind of curious that you can put in the country, you don't have to put in your city. I'm just kind of curious, right? All right then. So let's go to another one. This was April 13th, 1931. And Elbert Williams of the Cuban House of David, he hurled a no-hit perfect game, 15 to nothing versus the Shreveport Black Sox in Shreveport, Louisiana. Yeah, a perfect game. Guys, we don't hear about that very much. Somebody says, uh, I guess it's a Maduro. Mario. Okay. I'm trying to figure out what that means. What country is that? Okay. Maduro. Okay. I'm not sure where that is. But look, hey, I'm always learning something new. I'm going to look that up when I get off. Okay. So anyway, Albert Williams hurls a perfect game on this day down in Shreveport, Louisiana. And he was the star pitcher on this team, right along with the guy that his son became quite a baseball player, and that was Louis Tiant Jr., but Louis Tiant Sr. was also a star pitcher on that particular team, the Cuban House of Davids, 1931. That was Sid Pollock's team. However, they won't be using that name in 1932 because Ray L. Doan sued them because they were using the House of David name illegitimately, and he sued them in Council Bluffs, Iowa. Right. So anyway, yeah, Council, what do you know about Council Bluff, Iowa? Now, I go and I appear different places. I appeared there in, okay, Indonesia. Okay, wow. Okay, I got you. All right then. Okay, I'm going to look that up and see what I can learn. Sorry. Indonesia. Now, do they play baseball in Indonesia? That's what I want to know. Okay, I'm from Indonesian country. You know is country. Okay, all right, I got you. All right, and so anyway, they won't be using that name in 1932. He sued them up in Council Bluffs. In Council Bluffs, let me tell you something. You know, most people know about American cereals, Kellogg's and Post and all that kind of stuff. You know, what most people don't know is the Seventh Day Adventist Church was widely behind breakfast cereals because they were trying to find a substitute for meat in breakfast, and they ended up W.K. Kellogg left some I guess some corn on a vat or whatever. And next day he came back and it was he had to scrape it off. Anyway, that's something like that. That's how they can created cornflakes, Kellogg's cornflakes. Of course, C.W. Post was in the same town, and so you know he had Post Toasties, and I grew up on all this stuff, right? And so anyway, long story short, there was a company who sold a cereal called Dorfies, and they always sponsored a baseball team up in Council Bluffs, and they were the first cereal company to put toys or gifts into the cereal box to encourage people to buy the cereal, right? So when I was growing up, Captain Crunch always had something in the box, and that was a kind of special thing to get you to buy that cereal. And even in the 1960s, um, they had baseball cards on the backs of the boxes. And so people would, you know, if you wanted to get that whole series, they had close to 200 cards in there for, and this about 3 or 4 years running, you had to buy the cereals. And of course, some players, they would put on shredded wheat. Nobody loved shredded wheat. It was like it was like an old person cereal. You know, we wanted something cool. Give me some how much I'll put it like this. Every cereal back then for kids had the word sugar in it. So they had sugar frosted flakes and what was the other one they have? I'm trying to think with the little honey bear on it. Which one was that? I can't think of it right now. You know what? I grew up on that stuff. I'm surprised I'm still here eating all that sugar back then. So yeah, so sugar was in the title. Of course, when people started saying sugar's bad for you, they started taking sugar out of all the titles of the cereals, and so that's that. Sugar Crisps, that was it. Sugar Crisp with the little bear on there, right? I used to love that, man. Sugar Crisp, boy, I'm telling you, man. And Captain Crunch was the cereal that I think I ate the most of. You could only eat one bowl of Captain Crunch because it didn't get soggy. So usually I would pour my milk in and I would wait about 10 minutes before I started eating because if you didn't, it would really like irritate the roof of your mouth because it was so crunchy and you were trying to eat a bunch of it. So anyway, hey, I know we got some cereal eaters out here, but have you ever heard of Dwarfies? Dwarfy cereal, they were putting premiums in the box back in the 1930s. So, and they came out of Council Bluffs, Iowa, and they sponsored baseball teams. And of course, during the 70s, many baseball, actually, I think this was, I don't know if it was, yeah, it was Kellogg. They had the 3D baseball cards inside the box, so you didn't know what you were getting, and so you had to buy those. And yeah, so I have a number of those as well. I'll tell you what, I used to eat so much cereal. My mother used to call me the cereal boy. How about that? And I was watching the I'm trying to think Hanna-Barbera cartoons, and man, they were sponsored by Kellogg's cornflakes. Man, they were pumping that cereal. Anyway, that's way off the topic. But when you come to listen to this day in black baseball history, guys, I'll give you a baseball fact, then I'll take you somewhere that you never thought you were going, right? All right, so enough about cereal. How about this one? April 13, 1954, and the infielder Curtis Benjamin Roberts makes his Pittsburgh Pirates major league debut. And in that game, he hit a triple off another Hall of Famer, even though he's not a Hall of Famer himself, off of Robin Roberts. Yeah. So, and I learned a lot about Kirk Roberts from his wife. His wife's name was Christine. Christine, and she was from Kansas City, Missouri. And at the time I interviewed her, father was still alive. Yeah, so I was able to talk to him as well as her about the whole experience of Kirk when he came to Kansas City to play for the Monarchs and how they met Christine. I do have a great picture of Christine and my cousin uh, at one of the baseball games, sitting next to one of my aunts at the baseball game. That's in my book, The Negro Baseball Leagues of Photographic History. And so they actually knew my family, and his wife was good friends with my family. So when I talked to her, all I had to do was drop a name, and I was in like Flint, right? So that was Christine Roberts. And of course, Kurt ended up passing away on November the 14th, 1969. They lived out in Oakland, and he had a flat tire on the freeway. He got out to change his tire, and tragically was hit by a passing car. And while his wife and one of their children, at least, were in the car, and that's a tragic end to a great romance story. And man, but Christine, who's now gone on to glory, she's amongst the ancestors. I had the honor of talking to her and learning about Kirk Roberts and what a person he was and what kind of person he was, right? And so that roadside accident, of course, happened in Oakland, California. Another guy died in Oakland, California to play for the Monarchs was a guy named Harry Cranston. Cranston, Floyd Cranston, that's what his name, Floyd Cranston. And I talked to his sister as well. And Floyd passed away. I think he was driving his car and had a heart attack. And he's not the first person to do that. Pete Hill had the same thing. He was driving his car, had a heart attack, and he passed away, pulled over to the side and passed away. Same thing with Floyd Cranston. So sometimes you get the story that someone died on this date, but you don't always get the backstory of what happened to them. And by talking to members of their families, I was privileged to gain a lot of insight and knowledge, not only to what happened to them in the end, but who they were. I'll give you a good example. Floyd Cranston, if you ever look at a picture of the Kansas City Monarchs, and I've shown people photographs over the years, and people would always say, "Who's this white guy?" Because he looked pretty white, but he wasn't white at all. He was mixed, and his father was white. His mother was African American. So, but I learned that from the family, right? So he was a mixed ball player as well, and he came out of Louisiana as well. All right. So, okay. So let's go to another one here. And we're getting to some pioneers here. April 13th, 1954. This is over in St. Louis. So you got Kirk Roberts breaking the barrier over with the Pirates in 54. Then you got another guy. He's a 6'5" first baseman by the name of Tom Alston. And you can see a good picture of Tom Alston in the 1955 Bowman card set, the TV card set. Yeah, he's got a good picture there. And so, anyway, Tom Alston was the first black player to walk on the field in St. Louis, man. St. Louis Sportsman Park was a prejudice place, man. I'm telling you what, let's see. Now let me tell you a little bit about Austin, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit about the team and their segregation there. So um, let's see. Austin was signed after Anheuser-Busch bought the team in 1953. So prior to then, they didn't have any black players, and they didn't look like they were trying to get any. And they were the last major league team to abolish segregated seating, right? The last one, St. Louis. You know how many black people were in St. Louis? That made no sense at all. After I see Bob Powis join me. Hey Bob, I'm glad you got the alert. I'm trying to figure out how many people I have. I need my West Coast people today because it's a late broadcast. But anyway, so yeah, so St. Louis in Missouri, guys. And I lived in Missouri, growing up in Missouri, and I can tell you some interesting things about Missouri politics. And believe me, it's still going on right here in Missouri. So I was in St. Louis, and then of course, how about this one? After the Cardinals paid over $100,000, the highest price ever paid for a player that they had or any team had gotten from the Pacific Coast League at the time. So they acquired him from the San Diego Padres. All right, and the team president, remember Gussie Bush? Remember him? He discovered Austin was actually 2 years older than the Padres had claimed. So, I've talked about this many times. People would move their date of birth around to appear younger to get an opportunity to play. It wasn't about how good you play. They're trying to forecast how much money they're going to be able to make off of you, how long you're going to be around, are they going to be able to trade you, all that kind of stuff, right? So let's see. So he found out he was 2 years uh, older, so he asked the Padres to pay him 20,000 back from that 100,000 he had paid, which is equivalent of $10,000 a year. How about that? 20,000. So I don't know if that ever happened or not, but Tom Austin didn't have a great successful career, but I would tell you the next guy that came behind him, he made his major league debut. He was the second black player, and a guy by the name of Bill Greason, a right-handed pitcher who made his debut on May 31st, 1954. And Mr. Bill Gleason, but we're going to call him Reverend Bill Gleason, is still amongst us, and he is down in Birmingham, Alabama. I've had the pleasure of meeting him on two occasions. And I remember one time I went down to the Sabre meeting, and I took my trumpet and I played Lift Every Voice and Sing. I was pretty nervous because that's the first time I'd ever played it. And so I went and took my trumpet. I didn't hit all the notes like I'd like to hit them, right? So I went and sit down next to Mr. Gleason. I said, boy, I said, man, I was pretty nervous. And I remember saying to him, but at least you got it done, right? That was Bill Gleason. And so I had another opportunity to go. Actually, I've had several opportunities to meet Mr. Gleason, but he's still around over 100 years old. How about that? Somebody said July 4th, 1941, Integrated Sportsman Park with Satchel Paige pitching. That is correct. The Kansas City Monarchs, if I'm correct, they played the Birmingham Black Barons on that day. And years ago, I used to go down to St. Louis, and people would come out with memorabilia that they would want to sell me. And I remember a guy had a pen, like one of these pins you can put on your lapel, and it was a pen from that particular game. And unfortunately, I didn't buy it, and I should have bought it. But whenever I would tour, I would meet people and see things. I will tell you this: I'm trying to think what year it was. Had to be like in the '90s, maybe 1994. I went down to St. Louis, and there was a black a shoe company down there. And they were, still sneakers and stuff like that. They were called Squad One Sports. And I would go down to Squad One Sports, and we do a big day. And then what they would do is they'd have some of the St. Louis Cardinals come over. I remember Dave Ricketts came over, and then I would invite some of the Negro Leagues. Quincy Troop came over, Lee Moody. I think Tweet Webb came over there one time, and it was a black-owned uh, tennis shoe store. And tennis shoes were pretty hot around that particular time. This is '94. People buying these Nike shoes and everything. But yeah, went to Squad One Sports. Haven't been back there in years, but we would put together a flyer and then have all the ball players' names on there. There's another guy too. I can't think of his name. He had another black guy. He had written a book, trivia book about the St. Louis Cardinals, and he would come over and he bring his book, and man, we just had a good time. And it would be a line going out the door, and then KATZ would come down and do a live broadcast. Man, I'm gonna tell you what, if I started going over some of the events and activities I've been involved in, guys, it's just simply amazing that I was blessed to be able to do this because, guys, I was just a kid who enjoyed baseball. Never imagined the journey I was about to get on. And here I am 45 years later, just with the Negro Leagues. That's not counting all the time when I'm like from the fifth grade. I'm just reading everything on the National American and minor leagues and collecting baseball cards. That goes back to when I'm in elementary school, guys. So it's been a full lifetime. So somebody, let me see what we got here. Somebody says, great quote by Greason and Jimmy Kimmel's Willie Boy's book. Okay, I have to read that. I have to read that. Somebody said, we didn't let it bother us. We stayed focused. Yeah, you had to stay focused. And even, guys, even me, when I'm out and doing presentations, and you would think that everybody would be behind you. Sometimes it's amazing, guys. This hobby comes with clicks, guys. And then there are people who you think that support you, they won't support you. It's amazing. And I've seen that. And I see it more today than I used to see it. And there are people who they will go out, say a specific black player, and they will do a lot of research, and they think they own this guy. So, and then a person like me comes along, and I've interviewed the family and everything like that, and they take me as an affront, But hey, I can't be anything other than who I am. Let's see what Bob say. If you know, if you know who you are, you don't have to worry. That's true. Yep. And yeah, and so yeah, I certainly agree with that, Bob. Hey, and I'm going to run down one more. I think that you might find this one interesting too. This was April 13th, 1971, and William Bill Yancey. Now I've talked about Yancey quite a bit because he was a baseball player and a basketball player, right? So, and he played with the New York Black Yankees. Well, he died in Morristown, New Jersey, in Burlington County on this day, April 13, 1971. And Bill lived on North Church Street. Never got a chance to interview him because in 1971, I'm in the 10th grade, right? So I wasn't that interested in baseball then. Of course, if I had to try to make a long distance call, my parents would have probably uh, punished me, right? So anyway, but Bill entered the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame in 1963. So he had a chance to see his name enshrined in the Naismith Hall of Fame in Springfield, Massachusetts, there. And he wasn't enshrined as an individual player, but he went in as a team member of the New York Renaissance basketball team, the Wrens, and they were the all black professional basketball team that put a whooping on a whole lot of folk, I tell you. And of course, he played with the legendary Clarence Fats Jenkins, right? And Jenkins was a special player. They actually played baseball together and basketball together. Just imagine that. So they were really good friends, and but they changed the history of basketball. At the same time, they were creating baseball history, and we need to talk about it. I always say their names so these names will be heard by future generations. And I know I have a lot of people who are older people listening to my broadcast, but guys, you never know who's going to be listening to these broadcasts 5, 10, 15, maybe 20 years from now. So I'm kind of laying out a lot of information, a lot of names. Guys, go look them up. And here's the other thing. The reason you don't know what the future holds right now, well, let me put it this way. When I started um, doing black baseball history, I had to go to the library. I had to go through the whole newspaper. You couldn't just put in one name and find it. But technology has changed. So now I can go to the newspaper online. So I can put in somebody's name and a lot of things will come up. Who knows what the future holds for us, right? So I'm going to keep on mentioning their names as long as I can and letting you know who these people are. Now, I would tell you this. Did you know that Yancey became a baseball scout? Did you know that? And how about this one? He signed a guy that made baseball history. His name was, well, let me put it this way. He was pitching to a guy who made a legendary record. And that guy he was pitching to was Hank Aaron. And the pitcher's name was Al Downing. Did you know that Bill Yancey signed Al Downing? Yep, that is correct. And uh, and Al Downing was from Trenton, New Jersey, and he Yancey discovered Downing is a high school all-star playing an all-star game, and he actually reached out to the Yankees, and he made his signing of Downing conditional with the Yankees signing him as a scout. How about that? Pretty shrewd move there. Of course, um, Downing went on to have an all-star career later on with the Yankees and, of course, with the Dodgers. So I guess that's enough for tonight, guys. Did that give you some things to think about? So um, I am so privileged to come here and talk to you. I was looking earlier on my subscribers. I'm gonna jump over here and see what my number is right now. And I am trying to get to 780 subscribers. And right now I have 771. So the magic number is 780 because I call that my Ichihiro number. That is the number of RBIs Ichihiro had. And so just know that we are awfully close. We are 9 people away from Ichihiro's total number of RBIs. Those are runs driven in, right? And guys, sometimes people are listening to me. I don't know how much you know about baseball. I don't want to dumb it down too much, but I coached for a number of years, and as a kid, I had to learn some of the baseball rules. I remember I had to be in elementary school, and I hit to the second baseman. There was a guy on first. I hit to the second baseman, and so he went after the guy on first. He went on the guy on second, get him out, and so I reached first. And so anyway, when that inning ended, I went over to my coach and I said, "Man," he said, "Hey, I finally got my first hit." And the coach said, "That wasn't a hit. That was a fielder's choice." Fielder's choice. What is that? And that's that's how I learned what a fielder's choice was, right? I didn't know what that was. And I figured you hit the ball, you got on base, that's a hit, right? No, no, that's not how baseball works. But maybe somebody here, especially I have people here from Indonesia, maybe they've never heard of these terms before. Maybe they want to watch a baseball game, and you even need to know the baseball language, right? And sometimes when I go to elementary schools, I may ask children so a few baseball terms. Sometimes I ask them, what is a grand slam? And they have no idea what a grand slam is. And then I said, if the announcer says that play went 6-4-3, what happened? And they don't know, but I can tell you, I turn on the Royals baseball game, and Denny Matthews will come on, and he will say something like that. That play went, you know, uh, 5-4-3, right? And they don't know what that means. So every time he mentions a number like that, because people don't keep score like they used to, unless they're taught, they don't know that each position has a number. It's kind of like you're losing the fans. You might as well be talking a foreign language that they don't understand because you really are. So I try to talk to baseball announcers and tell them to put it where the goats can get it. That's what Joe Madison used to always say, and make it simple, make it plain, because we're trying to create a whole new generation of baseball fans. And nowadays in baseball, the if you turn on the highlights, the play they're going to show the most is the home run, right? Home runs all day long, home run. And guys, the hitting a home run is no longer that great a spectacle. Maybe if you hit a home run in the clutch or something like that, but that's all we see. It's more to baseball than home runs. Just know that, right? And so that is where I'm going to close tonight. Somebody says 6-4-3, six 6 plus 4 plus 3 equal 2. All right, hey, I get that. That's a double play, right? All right, we got a baseball fan in here, right? And I love it. I love it when my baseball fans come in because they push me, right? And that's a good one. I never thought about that as a term. 6 plus 4 plus 3 equal 2. 6, 4, 3 equal 2. All right. That might be a nice trivia question. How can 6 plus 4 plus 3 equal 2? Only in baseball. Only in baseball. So thank you guys for joining me tonight. I hope you enjoyed this. Boy, I just pulled up on almost on 30 minutes. And Bob, I'm glad you could catch me. I'm glad maybe your alert is working tonight. And I hope you enjoyed some of the information on Bill Yancey, yep, and Dwarfy cereals, guys. You got, I bet you never heard that before, guys. And then Elbert Williams tossing the perfect game. Probably never heard that one. You don't hear the name Louis Tiant Sr. very often. Kirk Roberts, boy, you don't hear anything hardly about his wife, Christine. And I'm just honored to have known some of these people through the ages. And God truly blessed this little kid from Kansas City, Kansas, because, guys, all I wanted to do was to play baseball. And from the time I saw this game, I fell in love with it. And I'm still in love with baseball because I think it's just a wonderful sport. Double Duty Radcliffe used to always say, if God made something better than a woman in baseball, he kept it for himself. That's a quote from Double Duty Radcliffe. Guys, thank you, and you have a nice day, and keep enjoying life, and find somebody that you love and give them a call, or find somebody you know and give them a big hug. They will certainly appreciate it. What the world needs now is a whole lot more love and a whole lot less hate. Thank you, guys. Have a nice day.